maybe be a little less consistent in terms of the evening routine.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Are you doing food with this?
Yeah, he gets food mainly when he does a good turn. Or do you mean when I put the collar on?
The collar on.
Yeah, he gets hot dogs.
Okay, so continue with that.
Yeah.
So it's not so much less consistent in the evening. Mm-hmm. It's just more consistent all around.
Okay.
Because then it becomes something you can't avoid.
Okay.
So most people tend to use the collar when they absolutely need it, and then it becomes a forever problem. Mm-hmm. And I tell them you want to use it for everything because that's what prevents the problem from actually happening in the first place. Okay. So and also, if you go on, let's say 4 walks a day, that's 4 instances of you practicing. We're putting the collar on and we're going out for a walk. So he's going to get over that much quicker. Okay. So think of it like skydiving. You been skydiving?
Have you?
I have not.
Okay.
But I would imagine that it's kind of scary the first time.
Okay.
Right? Would you agree?
Yeah, probably.
So let's say you go skydiving for the first time and you like it. And then you go once a week. You just go skydiving. Right? You're going to get used to it at a certain point. But let's say you go skydiving every day. Obviously, it's going to be a very quick progression because you're doing it every day. Right? Mm-hmm. So same thing for this guy. Except you want to do multiple times a day.
Right.
Because that's what's ultimately going to get them over everything on a much quicker scale.
Right.
Every dog's turnaround time is going to be different.
Right.
Some dogs take a couple of weeks, some dogs a couple of days, sometimes a couple of months. But definitely if it's that, 1 time a day type of walk, because every walk there's a potential of reactivity.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? There's always that potential there. Yes. So then when you don't have the collar, then it's like crap. But then he also becomes a gambler because he's thinking, well, can I get away with it on this walk? Mm-hmm. Right? And yes, dogs can learn the pattern of, I know in the evening time I can't get away with it, so I'm going to do everything I can in the morning times. And then it's a struggle there. Okay? Yeah. And don't think of it as a shock. Mm-hmm. That's why I say nick or tap. Because shock would be like electricity. Right. Like sticking your finger in an outlet or something like that. Okay, it's just a muscle contraction. There is a current there. Yes, correct. So I'd say it's electric, but not electricity, because a taser is more so the electric. You can see the little current going on there. Whereas with this, there is nothing. There's no contact. There is nothing. Okay, and it's all centralized in that one little area. Otherwise, the whole guilt factor and everything that comes along with it will inhibit. Okay. Otherwise, so you are aware. Now all we need to do is act on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Questions?
None.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is I think we're gonna walk down a bit.
Okay.
There's a bit more shade over there.
Sounds
so this way we're not in the sun.
Yeah, it's pretty hot.
Yeah.
Oh.
And what's your number been?
Right now it's 33.
Okay.
Yeah, he was super reactive on the walk here.
Okay. What's your number?
33.
Were you in a rush here? No?
No.
Normal walk?
Yeah.
Potentially, have you ever walked over here before?
Very rarely, and the few times when I first moved here, I walked to this park home, but then I realized, everyone's walking their dogs here. He's really bad with dogs. I'm going to avoid walking here, so...
Well, that's a great thing to walk. Thanks for your practice. I actually walked through here a few times this past weekend. I was walking my dogs in the facility. Because I forgot exactly what Palmer Square was. And then I saw the sign like, oh, okay, cool. This is where I'm going. Alrighty. This is good. So the length of the leash that you're going to want to get?
30 feet.
30, good memory.
Yep.
I know, buddy.
Why is he so excited?
Because we're friends. Right?
Sit.
I can place your bag over here if you like.
Oh, thank you. You don't mind?
Nope. So, stick it.
You definitely picked the right job.
What?
Because you're really good with dogs.
I would hope so.
Dogs really like you.
Unfortunately, not everybody that's a dog trainer is actually good with dogs. I've learned that throughout my years. So, any questions before we get started?
So this is to train him to return to his mate?
Correct, right?
Okay.
So we call it recall or come when called. So if you ever tell me, like, if you ever hear me say, like, recall, it means call him. Does he have any idea of recall as it is?
He used to be really good about it because the first dog trainer we briefly had for him was all about recall and sits.
Okay.
So he used to be really good at it. I've noticed recently he just is kind of ignoring me more,
Okay.
which actually is really irritating because I'm just like, I don't like the fact you're ignoring me.
Sure. When are you employing the recall?
Mainly in the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you practice with the trainer, where did you practice?
The trainer, she used only treats for training the dog, so she'd be like, okay, you're gonna stand there, you're gonna hide your treat, and you're gonna be like, Elmo. Oh, see, he did it.
Sure. But did you practice outside, inside?
Inside.
Inside, okay.
Yeah.
Because typically when dogs don't do a good recall inside the home, it's because people always practice outside. So if it's been a while since you practiced, could be another potential reason why. I actually don't care about inside the home. Unless are you calling him because you're trying to collar him up?
Because I'm trying to what?
Collar him up?
Yeah, and also sometimes this is gonna sound crazy. Sometimes I don't know where he is, and I get paranoid he like escaped. So I'm just like, Elmo,
Sure.
Elmo.
So if you're trying to put something on him that he doesn't like, he's in a state of avoidance, I don't do recall.
Oh, okay.
Because he just, like, it's like someone being in a burning building and saying, come on inside. Like, you're not going to go inside, right?
Fair enough.
So he's like, oh, you got that collar? Yep, I'm not going to do that. He's in a state of avoidance that I don't worry about recall. I just go grab the dog, collar him up, give him the treats, and go for a walk.
Okay.
Otherwise, the reason why I don't really care about in the home is it doesn't reflect how they're going to perform outside.
Yeah.
And I'm all about realistic context. So like my pit, she'll be on the couch sleeping or something. I'm like, come on, Lex, let's go. She'll look at me and like wag her tail, and she'll like be lazy. I'm like, Lex, come on. And she's like wagging her tail, and she's like closing her eyes, like, no. And I'm like, Lex, come on. She'll pop up and like stretch and take her sweet time and walk over. But when we're at the park, she's super fast. Okay. So, I think of it as like if you're just waking up and somebody's telling you to do something, like, so like, give me some time to wake up first, right? So I don't look at that so much as disobedience because I'd much rather her be a speeding tank in the real world than and then her being like a little sloth inside the home. Then trying to push for consistent 100%. How'd you say? You're gonna do it always, immediately, as fast as possible, even inside the home type of deal. Okay, because technically that's not realistic. However, if you would like that, then I just tell people practice inside the home. Okay. Questions?
No, I just need to see something about this collar because the shock thing keeps moving.
Okay.
But I swear it gets any tighter. I don't think it can.
And if you like at this point,
Mark it.
you can also clip the so after 2 weeks, you're in the safe zone, so all the extra collar that's there. Give yourself like maybe a few inches to work with. Because I had somebody clip it right next to where the notch was, and it was super difficult to put it on. Yeah. And then when you do cut it, I would round it so you don't end up with sharp corners that are poking you. Stuff I'm trying to collar him up, okay? So we'll get a remote.
Should I take this leash off?
So you're gonna leave that leash on actually.
Okay.
So.
Rabbit. Sorry.
Oh, look at that.
He
You like rabbits?
likes most small mammals.
Gotcha. Well, if he's got good prey drive, you can use that to your advantage with the recall stuff. So we're actually gonna leave that short leash on.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna be holding that one while you're holding the end of this one.
Okay.
The reason why we do 2 leashes is because at some point Elmo might get savvy to the exercise and prematurely leave me to go to you. So having the second leash allows me to keep him in my personal space until you actually do the recall. Okay. So we'll swap here. So, and what you're gonna end up doing here is we're not gonna worry about saying Elmo come right now. Okay. We want to condition Elmo to respond to the remote as if you're actually calling him verbally. Okay. So what you're gonna do is stay right there and keep a good grip on that leash.
Okay.
Can you feel any tension there?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Okay. So that tension, is he okay with me in his space?
Yeah, he should be. He seems to like you enough, so.
So go ahead and take a step back. Do you feel tension there?
Yeah.
A little bit?
A little
Good.
bit.
So what we're doing is we're timing that tension that you feel here on his collar with the remote.
Okay.
Okay, so we're not saying Elmo, we're not saying Elmo come, anything like that. We want it, because if you did call him and he came to you, it would be great. But we don't know if he responded to the remote or the fact that he's had previous training.
Great.
So we want to make sure that it's the remote itself that's communicating to Elmo to return to you. Okay, I'll go faster. So you're at 33?
Yep.
Okay, keep it there for now. What you're going to do is, whenever you're ready, you're going to step back and you're going to put tension on Elmo, and you're simultaneously going to tap on the collar as well. Okay, and you're going to move backwards as you're doing it.
Okay.
The moment you see Elmo running towards you, you're going to stop tapping, and you're going to take 3 more steps, and then come to a stop and allow Elmo to finish the rest of the way.
Okay.
Okay, so there's no words here. So we're wanting to make sure that the contractions, the nicks, are what are motivating him to move towards you. And I'm gonna have you actually go more this way, so we don't have to worry about walking to the sidewalk there. Good. So, and I'll coach you through the tapping.
Okay.
If Elmo overshoots it and passes you up, you're gonna want to pivot to face Elmo. So if he comes to you like this and goes that way, you would turn like this to face him and move this way. Okay. Now, if you do this, you'll also be tapping at that time. So you're tapping essentially anytime he's not moving towards you, and you always want to be facing Elmo, but moving away from Elmo.
Okay.
Okay? Questions?
I think I got it.
It's a lot of stuff, don't worry.
Yeah. I'm gonna mess it up, but that's
Yes,
okay.
it'll take a few reps, and once you get it, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
And tap, tap, tap. Start moving back, tap,
That's
tap, tap, and take 1, 2, 3 steps. So you see how he goes there? Yep. Now back, tap, tap. Wait right there. Back, tap, 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 tap. Wait. Turn to face him. Turn, back. So you just want to pivot to face him.
oh.
So turn, yep, like that. Now back. Tap, tap, tap. Wait right there. Turn to face him. Back, tap, 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 tap. Go ahead and bump it. Let's go to 37. Back, tap, 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 tap. 41.
Okay.
Right there. Go ahead and praise him.
Good boy.
And then you're going to say break.
Break.
We're going to repeat that a few more times. Okay, so all that was good. That's typically what we would expect in the beginning.
And being distracted and something.
Yeah. That's good because it gives you something to work with here. Okay? Right there.
Start.
Tap, tap, tap. 1, 2, 3. Right? Now wait. Turn to face him. Backwards. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Wait right there. Tap, 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 tap. Let's check if hit the vibrate function. See if the box is on.
Oh my god, is it not on?
Hit vibrate while you hold it.
It's not on.
Okay, that explains a lot actually.
It's like, what?
I thought I had turned it on. Okay. Let's see it. There it is.
Go ahead and turn it again.
Oh, like this?
Okay, cool. I just want to see that the light was blinking green.
Yeah.
But sometimes clients will turn it on, but it dies. So it'll blink red when it's running really low. Yeah, we'll go down to 33 again.
I think it's gonna be a little too high.
25.
Yeah. So he's a wimpy dog. I love him.
All right. Here, bud. Okay, we're gonna try it again with connection. Alrighty. So same stuff, okay?
Ready?
Tap, tap, back, tap, back, good, right there. Now wait. Turn to face him. Back, tap. Wait right there.
Good
And praise.
boy. Oh. Good.
Good. And you say break.
Break.
Good. And repeat. Come on, buddy. Back. 1, 2, 3. Hold right there. Go ahead and dip it down. So go to 18. And turn to face him. Backwards. Tap. Good. Watch for the tree behind you.
Thank you.
Right. Good move. Tap. Tap. Keep moving back. Tap. Good. Wait right there. Turn to face him. Back. Tap. Wait right there. And praise.
Good boy.
And break. Fine. 3 more times. When you're at 18?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm still flying.
Keep it there. If we need to, we'll adjust. When you're ready, tap. 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 Wait right there. And praise.
Good
We'll
boy.
try 15.
Yeah.
Break. And boy. And then you ready? Tap, tap, tap. And back. Tap, tap. Good. Wait right there. Yeah, boy. Oh, by the way, this is Bill.
Hi,
This is
Bill.
Christina. This is Elmo. He's my friend and camera guy. Here in the Hey, bud. Right.
Pretend I'm not here.
Pretend I'm not here. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Turn to face him. Back, tap, 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 tap. Good. Wait right there. Back, tap, 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 tap. You might have to
Increase
going
it?
around. Tap back. Oh, we got a dog smash.
Oh.
1 second. And bump it, yep. Back, tap. 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 Tap, tap. Wait right there. Still a little bit too far. You see how, yeah, so we want him to be as close as possible.
Okay.
What's your number now?
18.
Go ahead and back. Tap. 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 Go ahead and bump it. Turn and pivot this way. Back. Tap. 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 There you go. And wait right there. Turn the face. Back. Tap. 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 Good. Right there. There you go. Now you praise that. Very good. And break it. Right. Gonna bring him over. So, we're gonna let him rest for a second.
Yeah.
Do you see what we're doing there?
I think so, yeah.
What is it?
Basically, he's learning that if I'm going this way pulling, he needs to come to me and
Correct.
he needs to stop right near me.
Correct. So I don't care where Elmo lands in terms of placement. Okay, so right, left, front, back, or even between my legs is perfectly fine. But I do want the in my immediate space.
Right.
So that one, he was a little too far. People will accept that and they're like, oh, good dog. But what's happening is it develops into kind of stopping off at the side to slowing down and then just shooting off again. Okay? So when we have them move in 100% of the way and we make it super tight, less likely that that happens with the bypass, less likely that he prematurely leaves me to go back to whatever it is he was doing. So if he was chasing a squirrel or a rabbit and you called Elmo and he comes to you, he should stay with you until you release him. You shouldn't go back to chasing a squirrel or rabbit, okay? So by making it this strict, where it's like you come to me and you come all the way, much less likely that we even see that behavior happen, okay? And of course, like from running around and stuff, the collar lost contact. You bumped it from what, 15 to 18 to 21?
Yeah, 15, 18 to 20.
20? Yep.
Yeah.
So then right when you hit 20, he turned around and he returned to you fairly quickly. That's what we're trying to achieve all the time. Okay? Questions so far?
Is break the command to like let him?
Correct.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, do you have a different release word?
No.
No? Okay. So with
I
the
was
heel.
just checking because I wasn't sure if it was meant to be like.
Correct. So like for the heel, because you say break for the release, right?
Yeah.
Yep, so it's the same word. So break just means whatever you're doing, you're done. So if he's in a sit, a down, a heel, or a recall command, break means your job is done. You're only in Logan Square. Break means you're done with the job or the task at hand. Okay. So it stays the same for all the commands. Okay. So what we're gonna do here is same spiel, but we're gonna increase the distance.
Okay.
We're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna have you give the full slack of the leash.
Okay.
And then what you're gonna do is with that handle, a little bit around your thumb.
Which thumb? Does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
There you go. Did Bree or did I show you how to lock them? There you go, like that.
Yeah.
So when you're on the long leash, if you give Elmo the freedom of the leash, you want to have that handle because in case he decides to like take off or something, he's not going to rip the leash out of your hand.
Right.
You also may get rope burn.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the other thing.
I've gotten rope burn from
Yes.
that.
So it's not pretty and it hurts. So what we want to do here is now that we're working with a longer leash, we're going to add in an extra step here.
Okay.
Is you're going to be reeling in the leash. You're going to be reeling in the leash as you're moving backwards. It might be better to remove your collar from your neck to make things easier.
Okay.
So then you have the leash in your right. Which hand do you typically remote with?
I normally have it around my
On your
neck.
neck. Do you know which hand you typically use?
Probably my left hand.
Okay. So what you would do here is you have your leash in your right hand. You're going to go ahead. Like this. So you have the handle, right? And then with you'll take the leash here as well, right? So you kind of drape it over your hand there. And then you're going to be going like this as Elmo is moving towards you. Okay? Let me think here. Trying to think how I would do it. Or actually, maybe it's the opposite. Remote leash. Okay, you would do it this way. Take your remote, place it in your right hand.
Okay.
With your leash. So keep your leash over your thumb like that. There you go. And then you can have your thumb to press the nick function.
Oh, smart.
Okay. So then, so you have all that here, right? Mm-hmm. Then on your left hand, you have the leash draped over like this. So then you're just feeding it back. There you go. As he's moving towards you. Okay.
Oh.
So earlier you saw how many mistakes he was making and how far he was going.
Yeah.
So at 10 feet, not a big deal, but now that we're giving him 30 feet, you're gonna wanna shorten it up a bit. Otherwise he's gonna get tangled up with everything that's going on. I mean, like with the trees and all that stuff. Okay? Questions?
No, I think I got it.
Yeah, so everything stays the same. Except now as Elmo's walking towards you, you're gonna be feeding that leash through, pulling to your direction, just throwing it on the ground. Don't worry about getting all the leash. You're just shortening it so that if he makes a mistake, he doesn't have a full 30 feet to like go off the other way.
Okay.
Okay? And we'll go back and forth here. I'm gonna bring him over here. Attaboy. Good boy. There we go. We're gonna wait a moment. And tap, 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 and back. Good. Right there. Now wait there. Good. Wait a moment. Very good. And praise. Good. And we'll repeat. Break. Break. There you go. Come here, bud. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. I'll have you come a little bit forward this way. Just so you're walking through branches.
Oh.
And when you're ready,
Okay.
tap, 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 tap. Good. Now wait there. Tap, tap. Good. Wait right there. Turn to face him. See what he does. And pray.
Good. Okay.
So there, because you turn to face him and he was actually coming around to reposition, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
I just don't want, I always, for the recall, want to make sure the dog is moving towards me.
Right.
Okay? Because I don't want to call dogs and start walking and then assume they're moving towards me and then turn around and they're like even further away. Okay? So that was good. And break. Good boy. There. When you're ready. Back. 1, 2, 3. That's good. Wait right there. Attaboy. Good. Right. Good. We're gonna do 2 more. Come on, bud. Back, tap, back, tap. Good. Wait a moment. You're at 20 still?
Yeah.
You go down to 15.
Yeah.
There's good contact there.
Good boy.
Quick, you can do 1 more. Quick. Yeah, boy, quick.
Should I start?
Yep, you're good.
Okay.
There you go. Good. Very good.
Good boy.
Attaboy. Good. And we're gonna wait a moment. That's almost all that stuff. Very good. So
Right.
still a little bit of hesitation. Okay,
Yeah.
that's normal. That's why we do practice and train. So in the next batch that we do, we're gonna start layering the word of come. But in terms of like practicing and how we practice and stuff, this is not realistic. Like someone's not gonna be holding your dog for you, waiting for you to call them. Like if you have to call Elmo, it's gonna be because you like something spooked him, maybe you pulled the leash out of your hand and he's running, right? It's gonna be he's chasing something or running towards something he shouldn't. It's typically when people really need the recall to work. So I try to recreate that as much as possible. So at this park, like let's say this is a very heavily like rabbit populated park, and I know I have a dog that loves rabbits. I use that to my advantage. So then, like let's say he sees the rabbits, and there's like a little area here. I'm gonna break. I let him be a dog. Okay. And then maybe he's getting really distracted by sniffing and smelling by the rabbits and stuff. And then I practice a recall there for the distraction. Okay. Or maybe on his way to where the rabbits are, I'm issuing that recall there before he even gets to the distraction. So you're trying to recreate a natural context or a realistic context where you would actually need that command to work. It is harder if you're working solo because with this exercise, if you drill it too much, he won't want to leave your side. He'll be too paranoid because he's thinking you're just going to call me 1,000 times. Okay, so if in this case, I'm gonna probably say err on the side of assuming he's gonna be cautious and not want to leave your side. So what I would do is when you bring him here, maybe you're here for like 30 minutes, just walking around, allowing Elmo to be Elmo.
Okay.
So like be a dog, sniff, pee, poop, do your doggy thing, and then after like the 30 minutes, you decide I'm gonna call you now. At the very end, good boy, put your little short leash on, put up your long leash, go for a walk back home.
Okay.
Okay. The next time you come here, you know, be 30 minutes, and then maybe you do 2 or 3 common calls, and the next time 1, the next time 1, and then 5, right? You're randomizing how many times you're calling them so that you don't create too much concern on his part on like, you're just gonna bring me there and call me 1,000 times.
Okay.
Okay? So, I also encourage food in this exercise if you'd like to use it. It also helps him with the e-collar. So I'm not opposed to using food.
Right.
I just don't rely on it to get me certain things.
Yeah.
But in terms of balancing out how he feels about the collar, because there would be the food for, of course, when you put it on and when you remove it. But then when you start incorporating it with the training session itself, it starts to balance things out in that sense, okay? It's kind of hard to do during the heel With the recall, it's fairly simple. It's just once you remote him and he comes to you, you would feed him whenever he arrives. Okay? Questions so far?
So just try to be unpredictable.
As best you can.
Okay.
Okay?
And when I do it alone, I do want a long leash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Long leash, and you always hold on to the end of it. Okay?
Sorry, I'm just laughing because you're like, you have to hold on to your leash
Yeah.
as opposed to like holding here.
Well, because at some point we let the leash drag,
Oh.
and then what happens is people progress too quickly, and the leash will be dragging, and they're too far away from it. And if something happens to the dog, they either have to, panic, run and grab it, and then it burns their hand, or they can't catch the dog because they're too far away from the leash.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this stage, we always hold the leash at the end. So he has the full 30 feet to be free. Because
Yeah.
you're trying to create a realistic context, right? And then for
Right.
some people, because I know with the reactivity and stuff, just like, would I really trust Elmo to be off leash,
Absolutely.
right? But for me, because I deal with this stuff all the time, and I know what this device gets me in terms of control, and little tiny pup.
Yeah.
And I've had many clients who, when they were training, was like, that would say, I would never leave this dog to go off leash or anything like that, because they're so, with the reactivity and stuff, they're so concerned about it. But then as they achieve the obedience and the control, and over time they develop that trust of like, oh wow, like my dog's doing really well, and I can't trust him off leash because I have the capacity to bring him back, is that they do end up having their dogs off leash. Okay, it's all personal preference. I don't care at the end of the day.
Right.
But I'd rather have you have the skill set with Elmo than not, to then something go south and
Right.
you not be able to get him to return. The two most important commands are leash walking and come when called. Okay. Questions?
This is a little unrelated to everything we're doing, but he still has, when I walk him with the training collar on, we do our turns, we do all the stuff, but then when I go to walk him like I normally would with the collar, he's still pretty reactive around other dogs, and do I just bump this up whenever he sees another dog and starts pulling and marking?
Right. So, when are you seeing the reactivity?
Well, this morning's a good example.
Okay.
I put the shock collar on because I was already thinking like I need to
Do this more.
Yeah, I need to do this more because he already learned the pattern. And my neighbor has to be the nicest, most patient pit bull on the planet.
Okay.
And we walked past it. I didn't realize the dog was out in the yard, and luckily there's a fence between him and Elmo, and he's just standing there being chill, and Elmo's like sniffing at him, and then all of a sudden like starts snapping and pulling him. Shocking. He does not care.
What was your number?
Probably like 25.
Okay. So yes, it's just a matter of increasing the power, or that it's on.
Fair enough.
Not to poke fun, but it's true.
Yeah.
You're not the first person. It's not gonna be the last person. It does happen where people are like, I was at 100. I'm like, was your collar on? We're like, you know what? Now that I think about it, I don't think it was.
I feel like 3 or 4 people last week was
Yeah,
like that.
it happens. So, give a tap here. Well, that's why I always test the collar, right? So how do we test it? The vibrate, right? So
Which freaks him out so much.
Which is not uncommon. Dogs will freak out more over the vibrate than they do over the actual nick. But when you put that collar on and everything's powered on, I just hit that pager function. Always just checking, is this on, right? So because people tend to assume, they'll touch the things together and they'll see it green and assume like, oh, it's on, and then it's actually off. Okay, so always testing with that vibrate function, both when you turn it on and when you turn it off. I do that to this day with my collars, and I've been doing this with the collar like 8 years now. I still do that to this day, double checking anytime I work with the dog. You'll see me always hit the vibrate function, double check, put on the dog. I might even check a second time, hit the vibrate function, make sure it's on before I do anything with the dog. Okay, so I'd get in the habit of doing that as well. Otherwise, let's say you do 25, it's on and it's not effective. Then the next time I go up to 30 preemptively. Okay, I go up to 30 preemptively because I'm assuming 25 didn't work the last time, so why would I do 25 this time? And let's say 30 doesn't work, then the next time I'm at 35, the next time I'm at 40, right? So with each experience where it's not effective, I keep bumping it 5 levels so that I get to that number more quickly, okay? And ideally, And we have to take into consideration context. Let's say it's another dog that's like lunging and barking at Elmo.
Yeah.
I'm gonna gamble you're gonna have a harder time with that because he's putting up threat toward Elmo.
Yeah.
Okay, so not uncommon. You can stop Elmo. It just may take more power because he's thinking, well, that dog's, you know,
Right.
it's like that meme that's going around. I don't know if you've seen it. What's your name? Tony. Right. So I'm gonna use that all the time now.
I mean, it's so accurate.
Yes. So that's what's going on, right? So he's thinking like, hey, this guy's yelling at me. I'm gonna yell right back. Is that you can dissuade him and tell him no, even though that dog's being reactive, you still have to behave yourself. Okay. Other questions?
So while he's being reactive and not responding to this, should I focus on increasing that, or should I focus on pulling him away from the other dog?
I do with what you're comfortable with.
Okay. I just had to check.
So what I would suggest for one is I'd get a flat buckle collar.
Yeah.
It's this style collar, because this can unsnap.
Yeah, I realized that this morning. I was just like, oh, now I'm a little anxious because that collar is looking not as strong.
Right. So that, or they loosen up from pulling or tension. You'll tighten up the collar, and then next thing you know, it's loose again, and it slips over the dog's head.
Right.
Okay. If you put the leash on his harness, now you're going to be having conflicting messages.
Yep. So don't do
Wait.
that.
Yeah. I think did Bree talk about it too?
Yes.
Yes. Because harness says pull and bark, and then your e-collar is saying don't pull and don't bark.
So if that's true, why do people like the harness then?
Because they don't want to put pressure on the throat. So, because like especially like Yorkies and the small breeds, it can cause the trachea to collapse. So that's why they use harnesses for small dogs. But the issue is, this is why a lot of dogs actually have reactivity, is because of this. Okay, it's because people put harnesses on their puppies. They keep pulling their puppy back just to control them so that they're not harassing another dog. But the puppy perceives it as negative tension. So every time they see a dog, they feel that pull, it creates negative tension, which goes from I just wanted to say hi to frustration to agitation to aggression.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of people, when I talk to them about the reactivity and the dog's on a harness, I'll say, how long has that dog had a harness on? They're like, oh, ever since it was a puppy. And there used to be a super friendly puppy. I'm like, yeah, it's all the frustration from being pulled back from the harness that created the agitation in the first place.
Right.
Harnesses are meant for pulling. They're meant for huskies to pull sleds, right? So horses pull carriages, they wear harnesses. But the people steering the carriage don't use the harness to direct the horse, they use the horse bridle, right? And you direct the head, you direct the body. So same thing with the dog. You know, they make the gentle leaders that direct the head. For us, we're just doing training so that we get a level of control where we don't even need the leash, you know, if the owner does enough practice. But yeah, so you don't need anything fancy, just a regular flat buckle collar. So then you remove one more worry. Because that actually happened to me this morning. I went to pick up a dog from my daycare, and he pulled back, and the collar was loose, and it slipped right over his head. So, and I told the owner, I'm like, yeah, get a flat buckle, because that's going to be an issue. You can tighten it, and it loosens up. Tighten it, and it loosens up. Or I've had it also break.
Yeah.
So, okay. Other questions?
No, let's get back to training.
Alrighty. So now what we're going to do is everything stays the same, except now you're going to add in that verbal cue, and you'll go, Elmo, come. And everything else stays the same. Okay? Let's move a little bit forward this way. Just freeze. Good. Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
And you're good. If Elmo starts moving towards you, you will still tap at least once.
Do I still keep calling, or do I call just once?
Says Elmo come, tap, keep tapping as needed and moving backwards.
Okay.
But if he does come towards you, at least one tap.
Okay.
Okay?
Ready?
Yep.
Elmo, come.
Tap, tap, back, reeling your leash. Good. Very good.
Yes.
Good. And break.
Break.
Repeat that 4 more times.
Elmo, come.
Tap, tap, tap. There you go. Good. Good.
Boy. Should I be worried? He seems to be like tilting one way. No? Okay, cool. Great.
It can be a little bit of being unsure of the collar still, but once you practice a few times, you start getting a more direct response,
Right.
more of a straight shot.
Hey, Elmo, come. Come.
Good.
Good boy. Is that close enough?
That's good. My rule is 2 to 3 foot radius,
Okay.
right? And I'll go by the front paws a lot, because the front paws is the front half of the body. So if he's turned towards you, and the front paws are within that radius, I count it.
Okay.
But if it's like his back were to be within the radius, but he's facing the opposite way, I don't count that. Because he's more so disengaged than he is
Great.
attentive to you. Good. Do a couple more.
Elmo, come.
Good. Right there.
Good boy.
Excellent. We're going to do one more.
Break.
Break and wait.
Elmo, come.
Yep. Very good.
Good.
There we go. You praise him.
Good boy.
I'm going to pause right there. Okay.
Break.
So,
I think it's irritating him.
no, the dogs do that all the time. They do it to alleviate the pressure.
Oh, okay.
Because when they scratch at it, the stimulation doesn't go through. So like if you ever are trying to remote it for something and he's scratching at it, he can't feel anything.
Oh.
Okay. So here, there was a couple of points where he hesitated and you tapped him and he kind of looked confused. That's normal.
Okay.
Okay. So the reason why I'm telling you to call Elmo and always tap him at least once at this phase is if I'm Elmo, right, and you call me and he starts turning and then you tap here, what do you think would happen?
He's confused as to why I'm tapping.
Yeah, so what do you think he would do?
Not do the thing I want him to do.
And do what else?
Sit.
What else?
I'm not sure. Not do what I want him to do.
What would be the opposite of that?
Go away from me?
Yes, run away. Okay, so a dog's first instinct when they feel remote is typically flight. Run away from whatever it is. Okay, so if you call Elmo and he turns and he's moving towards you, he thinks he's like, I did it, I did something, right? And then the remote happens after that decision, that he thinks maybe that wasn't the right decision, and then he starts to go the opposite way. That's why we do this exercise, is so that we proof it. Okay, so and that's also why we have the long leash, so that we can proof it, so that when I call Elmo and I remote him every single time, I'm not worried about, once we get to the stage, we're the only gets to a stage where they trust their dog off leash, and I know that we've worked through all these potential issues. Okay, so just because a dog comes great 1,000 times doesn't mean they will return on the 1,001st time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have to have mistakes so you can clarify for him that remote never means run away. Remote always means return to me. Okay, so if you call Elmo and you tap him too late and he starts to run off the opposite way, don't think you screwed up. I want to see that. I want to see that so I can correct him and go, no, bud, you're not going that way. You're going to always come towards me. Okay? So when you do practice this, every time you call him, Elmo, come, tap. At least once. Okay? If you tap him and he goes the wrong way, then you would keep tapping and start walking backwards to draw him towards you again. And then when he's moving towards you, you would stop the pressure. So then he goes, oh, okay. The tap didn't mean don't come to mom. Tap did mean come to mom. And if anything, it means go to mom faster. Okay, so when I tap the dogs, they should, if anything, speed up. They should never slow down or veer off or go the opposite way. Okay, and that's why we do all this stuff here. It's all normal. Okay. Other questions?
Really pretty good about this one.
Just gotta practice it.
Yes, and that's when I feel less good about it.
So I would target. I mean, there's plenty of spaces to work. Like there's even that little monument area, which there's some fairly decent amount of space. I think homeless people tend to up around there though.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, target a time when it's not as busy. you know, like I always say, if you make one thing more difficult, make something easier. So if you're making it more difficult by going outside in an area that's typically populated, I would make it easier by going when it's not as populated. Okay, and you work according to that. Now, get away from me. The other thing, I had a cicada the other day. It was like on my hip, and my client was like, "There's a really big bug on you," and I saw it. I was like, "Oh no!" So, when you do come here, of course, be aware of your surroundings. So there's been a couple times I've glanced around because I heard something that sounded like dog tags.
Yeah.
So I'm not paranoid, but I just look and go, is it what I think it is? No, it's just a person with their keys, right? But just checking every now and then, just observing, making sure that there's not someone with their dog, and just like walking up to going, oh, you have your dog over here, like let me have my dog, let me read your dog, because especially since it's an open park setting. Okay?
I noticed that Oz Park, everyone was super good about asking if my dog was friendly, which surprised me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's funny because a lot of times people just like have their dogs off leash and it's like whatever.
Like that dog is off leash.
Yeah, that little guy?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's a pug.
Oh my god.
A little black pug.
Aww.
It is, right? Yeah.
It can't breathe.
And then like, you know, when I look at everything here, like everybody has their own pocket. Like he has his pocket and he's playing with his dog right there, right? So like, people don't really have what I call off-leash etiquette. They just assume your dog is at the park, so I'm gonna let my dog go to your dog. And I see that, and I don't go and intercept. You know, like I see someone playing fetch with their dog, and they go, "Okay, he's here to play fetch with his dog, and I'm here to socialize."
Right.
But a lot of people assume that when they see a dog at the park, they'll just like come in and like, "Oh, my dog is playing." I'm like, I'm playing fetch with my dog all the way at this corner of the park. Like, what makes you think that that's what I want to do here?
Yeah.
So, okay. So you might have to speak up and tell someone no if that happens. Questions?
I think I got it.
All right, we're gonna do a couple more, and we'll cap it there. Okay. Now, what? Do you happen to have anybody that can help you?
In this neighborhood? No.
So, if you did have someone who could help, a friend or whatever, one way you can start to make things more realistic is as they're walking away with Elmo, you do a recall then. And we're actually going to do that now, just to give you an idea of it. Okay? So when you say break, as I'm walking away with Elmo, maybe when he's about 10 to 15 feet away, you're going to issue that recall, Elmo come, and then tap, everything stays the same, but you're doing it as he's moving away from you, not when he's already stationary, sitting or standing with me.
That makes sense. So
Okay.
then he learns if he hears it and he's still moving away, he still has to.
Correct. And we're trying to
Look at
recreate
me.
that movement away
Right.
scenario, whether
Yeah.
he's running, you know, all that stuff, chasing something. Break.
Elmo, come.
Tap, tap, back, tap. Good. And boy. Try a couple more.
Break.
Break.
Completely ignored me.
And that's normal in the beginning. I mean, we just taught this.
Elmo, come.
Tap, 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 back. Good. Yep, you move, back, tap, tap. Good, wait right there. Turn to face him. Back, tap, 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 tap,
Pee on the leashes.
tap, tap. You can pee on his leash, just don't pee on my leash.
Good boy.
It's got a lot of pee in him.
I know, right? That's why I said earlier, he's got a tank.
Oh, that's what my friend calls him, a drive-by here.
Oh, really? I got
Elmo, come.
tap, 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 back. Good.
Good boy.
Go ahead and here, place yourself to Elmo's right, left, right, no, right, his right, his right, his right. Clearly, I don't know my sides. You're on his left. Other side.
Other side.
There you go. Go ahead and say heel and walk towards this way.
With the long leash or?
Yeah, with the long leash.
Okay. Heel.
And walk, tap, 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 tap. Yeah, you definitely have to work on that heel. So at this stage, he should already be on the hip. So if you watch like our other recall lessons, within a couple of weeks the dog is already tight on the hip, And then I can see right there a lot of space, tapping, not so that's just number really, but not being so much mindful of it. That's a concern about it, kind of just venturing off and doing his own thing. So that's something to consider. Of course, the reactivity as well. It's theoretically speaking, like if he really respects the heel, he's not going to want to go into reactivity, right? So then we play with the number. We find one again that working number high enough that he's like, I want to turn this off, but low enough that we're not like getting a rolling around kind of behavior. I know we did get a couple of moments of like, hey, today. That's more so, I would say, frustration because this is completely new to him. So it wasn't so much too high, it was just too high for the exercise that we're teaching because he didn't know what to do. But once he gets conditioned, you might find that number that you're using does go up a bit because now he's confident in the exercise and he has a good awareness or at least concept of what he's supposed to do. So it's not as kind of out of the blue. Okay? Questions? So practice, okay? All your walks are training walks, okay?
Make sure it's on.
Make sure it's on. If you get a reactive moment at 25, don't ever pull back, always pull up. Okay, always up. Back and back escalates, up de-escalates.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so up de-escalates as you're tapping. If it's not working, look at your number. What did you end at? 25. Okay, I know I think 25 is not going to work. So next time we prepare for the reactivity, I go to 30. I'm already at 30. See what happens. He blows up, tap, tap. He keeps barking. It's gone. Didn't work. The next time I see a dog, 35. Just keep building off each experience, okay? And I don't go by like, oh, let's see how many. I don't go by percentage. Like, let's see how he does with the first 10 dogs that he sees. Like, it's like, no, if it didn't work, I just bump it 5 levels, go to the next and then apply it to the next dog. Okay? Questions?
Now it's just me actually.
Yes. Can't help you there. Okay.
No.
So yeah, don't feel bad about it. He's doing good. He's doing everything that I would expect to see at this stage. Other than the reactivity, we can take care of that too. That just requires consistency and getting over the emotional discomfort of the e-collar.
Yeah.
Okay.